Millions of people wake up every single morning determined to transform their entire lives, without realizing that one hidden mistake is silently destroying their progress before the day even begins. You might have said it to yourself just a few hours ago, promising that starting today, everything would be completely different. You feel the sudden surge of energy, plan a massive routine shift, and push yourself to the absolute limit. Yet by the end of the week, the excitement fades, leaving you exhausted, frustrated, and right back where you started. Real change does not disappear because you lack discipline or strength. Today, we are going to uncover 5 silent patterns that ruin your growth and how you can break them forever. I once knew someone who decided to overhaul his entire life in a single morning. He woke up at 5 in the cold dark to run 5 miles, completely emptied his kitchen pantry of all comforting foods, and forced himself to study dense books for 2 full hours every night. For 3 days, his energy was high and his motivation seemed totally unbreakable. But by Friday evening, after a difficult shift at work, he crashed on the couch, ordered junk food, turned on the television, and felt like a total failure. Behavioral researchers often describe this overwhelming pattern as all-or-nothing thinking. The human mind naturally seeks safety and views extreme, sudden lifestyle changes as severe threats rather than healthy self-improvement. When you demand total perfection across every area of your existence at once, your mind creates massive internal friction. This heavy pressure causes you to abandon your deep ambitions entirely at the very first minor stumble during an exhausting workday. Imagine trying to build a heavy brick house by stacking every single layer during a violent storm without letting the foundations set properly. The entire structure will inevitably collapse under its own weight, leaving only ruined materials and deep frustration behind. True long-term stability requires quiet patience, allowing each individual brick to settle firmly before carefully adding another layer above it. Not about changing your entire world overnight, but about building one small habit with quiet, daily consistency. I once knew a woman who relied purely on intense emotional feeling to keep her personal goals alive. She would watch inspiring video speeches late at night, write ambitious action plans in her journal, and feel completely unstoppable before going to sleep. But every morning, her phone notifications buzzed constantly, her desk was covered with distracting papers, and junk food sat right in open view. Without a supportive physical environment, her initial high energy drained away before noon, forcing her to rely on sheer willpower just to survive the rest of her long, exhausting day. Behavioral researchers often describe this daily friction through the concept of present bias. When your immediate surroundings are filled with effortless distractions, your brain naturally chooses instant comfort over long-term future rewards. If you rely solely on temporary emotional energy without deliberately redesigning your daily space, you force your mind into constant internal conflict, causing you to give up on your healthy routines whenever daily stress creeps into your routine. A small sail on an ocean boat cannot endlessly fight against a fierce incoming tide without a proper steering rudder. You can row with maximum physical effort, but the strong current will quietly drag you backward toward the shore. Redesigning your immediate surroundings acts as that quiet, steady wind, guiding your ship forward even when your tired arms grow weary. Not about forcing yourself to stay deeply motivated every single hour, but about creating an environment where good choices become effortless. If these gentle realizations are helping you see your life more clearly, please take a quiet moment to subscribe to Silent Habits. It helps this channel grow and reach those who need it most. If you are ready to make a real change today, write this simple phrase in the comments below. I choose quiet progress over noisy goals. I once knew someone who spent entire months waiting for the ideal moment to start his creative project. He kept postponing his personal writing until his busy work schedule cleared up, and delayed launching his business until he bought the perfect laptop and tools. Every single Monday, he promised himself that next week would offer better conditions, calmer days, and total internal clarity. Year after year, those ideal circumstances never arrived, leaving his notebooks filled with brilliant ideas that never saw the light of day. Psychologists often describe this endless waiting pattern as status quo bias. The human mind naturally prefers familiar comfort and creates the comforting illusion that future conditions will somehow be much easier than the present moment. By constantly convincing yourself that you need better timing or complete readiness, you silently reinforce deep self-doubt, causing you to delay meaningful action while watching life pass you by in a cycle of endless planning. A cautious swimmer standing on the edge of a cold pool will never learn the real water temperature by staring at the calm surface. The longer you hesitate on the dry edge, the colder and more intimidating the water appears to your mind. Stepping into the deep end is the only act that reveals your true natural ability to float. Not about waiting for the perfect moment to feel completely ready, but about taking action while you are still uncertain. I once knew a man who worked relentlessly on his physical health, yet constantly brushed off his real personal achievements. When he successfully exercised 4 days in a row, he dismissed it as the absolute bare minimum effort. When he lost 5 pounds after weeks of steady dedication, he complained that it was not 10, focusing entirely on how far he remained from his final goal. Because he never acknowledged his quiet daily steps, his journey felt like an endless steep hill without any resting points, leaving him feeling deeply discouraged despite making genuine, steady physical progress. Behavioral researchers often talk about this mental tendency as discounting the positive. The human brain has a built-in negativity bias that highlights what is missing while completely ignoring incremental daily growth. When you systematically diminish your small, genuine everyday victories, you strip away the essential psychological reward needed to sustain long-term habits. This severe habit leads to emotional burnout and a false belief that your continuous hard work is completely useless. A patient farmer who plants tiny seeds under the dark soil does not dig them up every single afternoon to demand full-grown fruit. Growth occurs quietly underground, long before the green stem breaks through the hard surface into the warm, bright sunlight. Dismissing the invisible roots only prevents the tall tree from ever bearing sweet fruit. Not about focusing only on the distant, massive mountaintop, but about honoring the small, quiet steps you take today. I once knew a woman who built a lifestyle designed entirely to impress people she barely even knew. She chose a high-stress career path simply to earn applause at family gatherings, and bought expensive clothes just to appear successful on social media platforms. From the outside, her daily life looked enviable and polished, but behind closed doors, she felt profoundly hollow and constantly anxious. Every milestone felt like a heavy burden because she was living a life dictated by the silent expectations of others, rather than her own quiet values. Psychologists often describe this painful dynamic through intrinsic motivation theory. When your personal transformation is driven by a constant need for external validation, rather than genuine internal values, your accomplishments fail to bring lasting peace. Living for the applause of the world forces you to wear a heavy mask every single day, creating a deep disconnect that slowly drains your authentic joy and leaves you exhausted by your own achievements. A tree that grows its roots thin and shallow just to bloom colorful flowers quickly for passing travelers will fall during the very first winter wind. Real strength lives deep within the quiet earth, unseen by the eyes of strangers. True fulfillment comes from nourishing your internal roots, not from pleasing the passing crowd. Not about living a life to win the silent approval of others, but about honoring your true inner voice. Real transformation is not an explosive event, but a quiet daily choice to honor who you are becoming. Whenever you feel stuck or tempted to return to old patterns, gently shift your mindset. Replace, "I must change everything overnight," with "I will build one habit with daily consistency." Replace "I need high motivation to start" with "I will build an environment that supports me." Replace "I am waiting for perfect timing" with "I will take action while I feel uncertain." Replace "my small daily victories do not count" with "I will honor every small step today." Replace "I must prove my worth to others" with "I will live according to my true values." If you are ready to walk this path of true growth, write this simple phrase in the comments below: "I choose quiet progress over noisy goals." If this video brought clarity to your heart today, please share it with a friend who needs these words, and subscribe to Silent Habits for more peaceful wisdom. May you find the strength to grow at your own natural pace.